Ellen, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, the Judy Garland version from the movie, on the guitar. Here's a quick overview of everything I'll be covering in this tutorial today, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. And really quick, I should mention that I am going to be teaching this video in the original key as the movie version of the song. So in order to do that, that does require you to tune your guitar a half step down. So if you don't know what that means or how to do that, I did make a video right here of the easiest way to tune your guitar half step down. But this is totally optional. If you want to play through this song without retuning your guitar, you can do it in standard tuning. It'll just be a half step higher than the version that I'm going to play through at the end. But you can still use the same chords and picking and strumming and everything. It can all be applied. It'll just be a half step higher. All right, guys, so for this song, we are going to need to know 15 different chord shapes. And I know that that sounds like a lot, but the good news is a lot of them are just variations of chord shapes you probably already know, so it's not as intimidating, hopefully. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to start with our G major, which looks like this and sounds like this. And by the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my free beginner course right here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out. The next chord shape is our E minor 7. We also have our A minor 7. There's our D7. We have our B7 chord. Our E7. Our A7. Then there's our D chord. We also have our C major 7. There's our G7. Then we have our B minor, which is the only bar chord for this song. Then we have A minor. G major 7, and for this chord, the traditional fingering is something like this. However, if that's hard for you to play like it is for me, I actually prefer to play my G major 7 with my ring finger just scooched down a fret. So if that's more comfortable, you can play it like I do. Then we have our E minor. And then the last chord shape you need to know is our F sharp 7. And those are the 15 chords to play through this song. But just really quick, I know that you probably heard me say a lot of those 7 chords. If you are a beginner and you're not familiar with a lot of these chords, you can always replace any of those 7th chords with the regular version of that chord. So for example, instead of G7, you can just play a G. And instead of D7, you can play a regular D. So on and so forth. So if that's easier for you, go ahead and replace those chords with the regular fingerings. So go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really memorize all of those chord shapes, as well as practice transitioning back and forth between them, because that'll make learning the rest of the song so much easier. And of course, if transitioning your chords fast enough is something that you're currently struggling with, I would suggest checking out my Practice With Me series, where we go through the skill in real time together. But once you have all of those chords down, we can go ahead and talk about the strumming that I would recommend for this song. All right, so if you're new to guitar or you struggle with singing and playing at the same time, the first thing I would suggest you do is to bring up the song and go through the whole thing with a single down strum for each chord change as you sing through the song, and take this time to really get used to where those chord changes are going to happen. So here's a quick example of what that would look like with the first verse. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. All right. So you would basically want to do that for the entire song, and just make sure you know what word you're singing and things like that whenever those chords are changing. And this is actually something you do right now if you check out my Patreon page. I do have this entire guide available to download and print out for free, so I will make sure to leave that link in the description box for you, as well as in this iCard right up here. But once you've done that practice pattern and you're familiar with where those chords are changing, we can go ahead and talk about a more full strumming pattern that you can use for this song. All right, guys, so my suggestion for strumming, as you can see, is just down, down, up, down, down, up. So let's go ahead and zoom in and talk a little bit more about this rhythm. All right, guys, so we're gonna be in a super simple 8th note strumming rhythm today. So basically it's gonna count like this. We have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and down, down, up, down, down, up. All right, super basic and straightforward. Really quick before we move on, I'm going to put a vertical line right down the middle here. And basically what that's going to represent is where we're going to change chords. Because this song moves a little bit more slowly, we are going to play 2 different chords within one measure. So that's what that vertical line means. And with that being said, we're going to play this full pattern through 1 time for each chord pairing. So basically, let's go ahead and break down the first verse. We have G to E minor 7. So on your G chord, you would play the first half of this strumming pattern, down, down, up. Then you go to your E minor 7 and finish it out, down, down, up. All right, same thing with the next 2 chords. We have A minor 7, down, down, up, to D7, down, down, up. All right, super simple. You can actually use the strumming pattern for the entire song and it sounds really great. So let's go ahead and go through an example of what this would sound like with the verse. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. All right, so super simple, and you can apply that for the entire song. Now, if you did go to my Patreon page and print out that guide, you'll notice that some of the chords have a little asterisk next to them. And basically what that means is those are chords we're going to hold out for the whole measure. So instead of splitting the strumming pattern in half, for the starred chords, we're going to play through the whole pattern, okay? So for example, the end of the verse would be an example of that. Next year, all our troubles will be miles away. All right, so you can see there the E minor and the G7 both have asterisks next to them, and so basically you're going to hold that whole pattern out 1 time through the entire measure for all of the chords with those stars. But yeah, that's a super simple strumming pattern that you can actually apply for the entire song. So again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really internalize and memorize this strumming rhythm so you can play it through the whole song. However, if you are somebody who maybe wants to dabble in some finger picking and you feel like you're a little bit more advanced, I do think that this song is beautiful with a beautiful finger picking pattern, and I have one for you that's fairly easy that I wanted to show you how to play. So let's go ahead and talk about the finger picking that you can use for this song. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and break down this finger picking pattern. Even though we have so many chords, the actual pattern itself is fairly easy to understand once you get the formula down. So basically with our right hand, I want you to take your thumb, and your thumb is going to be assigned to the top 3 strings, E, A, and D, and it's going to stay there the entire time when we're playing through this. And with your pointer, middle, and ring finger, I want you to put those on the bottom 3 strings, the G, B, and high E string. And so for this entire picking pattern, these 3 fingers are going to live on these 3 bottom strings, and the only finger that should be moving is your thumb because it's going to cover the bass or the root note of every chord shape. Okay? So now let's go ahead and talk about our left hand. Basically, you just want to hold each chord shape down. So for example, let's start with our G chord. You're going to hold that down like regular, and with your right hand, instead of strumming, we're going to pick each of these strings by themselves. So we're going to start with our thumb on the 6th low E string, then our pointer finger goes to the G string, and then you're going to see that the 2 and the 1 are in a parentheses together, and basically anytime I annotate these numbers in parentheses, that just means you're going to pick them at the same time, like together. And then come back with your pointer finger on the G string. And that's the whole pattern. All right. And so if you can get used to using your right hand with each of these individual strings like that, then it'll be a lot easier to play through the rest of the chords because the rest of the chords follow this exact same pattern. So let's go ahead and cover the other ones. For our E minor 7, it's going to look just like G, 6, 3, 2, 1, 3. For A minor 7, your thumb's going to move to this 5th A string because that's our root note. Okay, D7. for our B7 chord, E7, A7, D, E minor, G7, C major 7, B minor, A minor, G major 7, and F sharp 7. So that's how you're going to pick all of the chords in this song with your right hand. Once you can get used to kind of how that pattern goes, all you have to do now is put them in order through the song. So similarly to the strumming pattern, you're just going to play this picking pattern one time through per chord throughout the song, except for those starred chords. Again, those are going to be held out a little bit longer, so on those chords only, you're going to play the picking pattern twice in a row. So let's go ahead and look at that first verse as an example. We have G, E minor 7, A minor 7, D7. Have yourself a merry little Christmas. Let your heart be light. All right. I think this sounds super beautiful and really reminiscent of Judy Garland's version in the movie. So if you can do the picking, I would highly suggest trying it out. So just as a quick example, the end of that verse, we have a few starred chords, so that's what this would sound like. Next year all our troubles will be miles away. So just remember those starred chords. You're going to repeat this picking pattern twice for those chords only. Otherwise, you're just going to play the picking pattern one time through per chord for the entire song. All right, guys, so again, pause the video and take as much time as you need to get used to this picking pattern. Practice the right hand motion for all of the different chords, and then try to put it into context with the song. If you can do the picking pattern, or maybe that's something that you prefer, I would suggest playing it through this way if you're going to sing it for people. I do think it kind of brings more of a sentimental value to the song. So anyways, once you have the picking pattern down, we can go ahead and use everything we've learned in this tutorial to play through the song. 1, 2, ready, go. Want to play through the rest of this song with me? Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this fast track play along tutorial where we go through the whole song in real time together. It's all for free, so I will make sure to leave that link in the description box down below. If you enjoyed learning this song with me, then you should definitely check out this video. Not only does it have a super similar vibe and feel, but it's just as fun to play, so I will see you over there, and happy holidays.